Hello, what is up everyone? I hope you have had a fantastic day. It is Truth Reviews here. Just before I start this video, only 1% of you are subscribed watching this right now. That's a complete fact. Only 1% of you are subscribed. So if you're not already, please consider subscribing to the channel now. You will not regret it. I post twice a week and a lot of people love my full art stuff. A lot of people love a lot of other things. So feel free to subscribe, like if you like the video, comment why you do or what you think would make a good Call of Duty game as well, yeah, enjoy the video guys, thank you. Call of Duty is a franchise that is getting a bit old now. And it's so old that I can barely remember getting my first COD, but I can. It was Modern Warfare 1, and I loved it. COD 4 was amazing. And you know, back in the COD 4 days, this was when Call of Duty really had their own ideas and visions and thoughts. You know, they really came up with unique ideas for each different COD game. I mean, we had the Modern Warfare series, a series about special operations teams, the SAS, moving through, taking down highly dangerous terrorists. We had the Black Ops saga, which had us playing as Woods or Mason, a roughed up Vietnam soldier with the CIA, moving through, taking down Russians. Yeah, there's a massive difference. And then we had games like World of War, which were bloody and brutal and sad and miserable, and the atmosphere was depressing, and COD had original ideas. That's my point here. COD had original ideas. By the end of 2012, all World War II CODs sort of stopped happening. The Black Ops saga, or duo rather, Black Ops 1 and 2 had finished, and the Modern Warfare series had also finished. Which would then lead Call of Duty to go into this really strange phase of just shoving out whatever they felt was best. Ghost was shoved out and it just felt like Modern Warfare. I mean, we had all the advanced games, you know, Infinite Warfare, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, but they all felt a bit messy. And then, of course, we had a more recent COD title, World War II, which tried to restore things to boots on the ground combat. And we know that was a real 50-50 split. But I think I have come up with a very good Call of Duty idea for a Call of Duty game that no one else could ever think of. No one else. It's impossible. You could never think of it. This game is called Call of Duty Vietnam, or Call of Duty Vietnam War. And it's everything that it sounds like. It is a Call of Duty just set in Vietnam. Now, how I would have this worked is it would be sort of a World War II, 2017's Call of Duty World War II. It would be a return to form for Call of Duty, but with some more advanced movement. Call of Duty Vietnam would obviously be set in Vietnam, and it would have you, in terms of campaign, play from the very beginning of the Vietnam War to the very end. In terms of gameplay, we would keep it grounded. I mean, very grounded. But we could have some unique systems. I feel like perks and power-ups could be specially fitted to the Vietnam environment, stuff like that. I feel like different traps, booby traps, could now be used, and equipment would be coolly used. I feel like sliding could be put in this game. I just feel like it would be fun to slide around in Vietnam. That's all, you know, I really have to defend it. And movement could be restricted, so you know, you're not jumping on walls and stuff like that, and like grasping into walls with your pistol and stuff like that. But I feel like the movement could feel fluent, just like a mix between Cold War and Modern Warfare. Now, Call of Duty stories always, for the past 10 years, have had us play as some super advanced team who's got to save the fucking world from World War III or Armageddon or nukes or terrorists. Unless, of course, we're talking about Call of Duty World War II, which was more boots on the ground and soldier and brother in arm focused. I would have it like this. You are no one special in this COD campaign. You are a soldier who serves from the very start of the Vietnam War to the very end of the Vietnam War, and I would use historical events such as like World of War does. You know how World of War has us fight through certain historical events and locations? I would definitely use this for the Vietnam Call of Duty. For example, the Ho Chi Minh Trail. The Ho Chi Minh Trail was a trail that America bombed during the Vietnam War. Perhaps we could have a battle scene and a fight there. We could start the game playing as the French, because little people know that the French actually occupied Vietnam before the Americans. We could play as the French and see them brutally get pushed back out of their airfield and just completely demolished by the Viet Cong. Then we'd switch perspectives to a new private joining the Vietnam front. He's patriotic and ready. Throughout the course of the game, he would go on many missions with his small squad. We would see his sergeant change multiple times because he would be killed. He could have one core friend that stuck with him throughout the game, but he would go through multiple different battles in Vietnam, patrols, losing friends and sergeants. Now, here's where I think it would be cool. I think we should be able to make small decisions that impact the game. For example, do we take this trail? Do we take that trail? Do we go off course? Do we directly follow orders? In case you're unaware, the Vietnam War was brutal, and I think we can show this quite well in our Call of Duty game. You know at the end of World War II where they have that little Holocaust section, and it really doesn't do justice for the absolute fucking atrocities that happened in the World War II Holocaust? We should do stuff like that, but with balls. And what I mean is, we should really show the audience that, hey, America did fucked up stuff. We should show massacres of the villagers, but then we should also contrast this with the VC, the enemy, the Viet Cong, killing and brutally torturing Americans. I feel like in Black Ops they do a very good job at villainizing and showing how evil the VC were, and how, you know, they slit Americans' throats and they hung them up and blew them up. And while this is definitely true and the VC had some sick bastards in it, America wasn't so different in the fact that they blew up and killed a lot of innocent people. I feel like we could show this very well, and we could do this in multiple ways. We could have our soldier make decisions such as, does he follow direct orders, does he not? And this could impact the story. Not in a huge way that every event changes, but hey, maybe if you don't follow orders, one of your crewmates die. Maybe if you do follow orders, one of your crewmates die. Stuff like this. I would have the sergeant constantly be the one to change, as sergeants being killed by their own men in Vietnam happened very often, and I feel like we could give the player here an option to kill the sergeant whenever he wants. This would add a little bit of realism and depth to the game itself. We would have our soldier follow through the war and many historical events. The Tet Offensive, for example, where America were pushed back, and a lot of people say is the turning point for America losing the war. We would have our soldier witness atrocities, and by the start of the game, he would be a young, happy, brave, patriotic soldier, and by the end, a broken shell of a man through PTSD and pain. Sorry about that, I realised that got a bit too dark a bit quickly. Let's talk about the multiplayer. Now, Call of Duty maps are brilliant, but they really do lack variety nowadays. We've got a warehouse, a building, there's another building, there's a building in Afghanistan. Yeah, you get the point. There's not a huge amount of surface material here for us to work with a lot of the time, unless we're talking certain Call of Duties. So, having a COD in Vietnam would work perfectly. The map selection, we could have the sharp caves of Vietnam, the tall, massive jungles and waterfalls, we could have cities, we could have towns, we could have villages. The map selection is endless, and there could be so many game modes. I mean, think about, you know, Modern Warfare's Hardpoint. Think about that, but in a Vietnam setting. It would be incredibly cool. Also, VC versus Americans. Come on, tell me that does not sound sick. There could be different game modes we make out of this as well. Perhaps there's a game mode where you have to set up your own booby traps and defend a certain area as the VC whilst America tries to attack. Something like that. I feel like there is a lot you could do with a Vietnam set Call of Duty. And then, I feel like this game would only be right to have a zombies, as most Call of Duties that dabble in Vietnam, such as Black Ops 2 and Cold War, they also have zombies. I mean, there have been CODs that tried to go into Vietnam, but they've never fully done it. I feel like we need to fully do it. Call of Duties have never fully committed to a Vietnam solo game, and I feel like we should. Anyway, zombies would also be sick. Imagine the tool maps. You could start off in a city, go through the jungle, move through caves, go underground, and end up in maps like that. Zombies, you could have multiple maps, multiple game modes, and maybe you could have like a solo Vietnam game mode itself. Now, the only question left remaining is, what Call of Duty company would I have make this game? Out of Sledgehammer Games, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward, who would make this game? Now, obviously it's not going to be Infinity Ward. They've never done anything like this. They've always done Modern Warfare. I'm going to keep them on Modern Warfare. Now, Treyarch have dabbled in Vietnam the most, but they always sort of make something under the Black Ops IP, so I feel like it's only fair to give this one to Sledgehammer. I feel like they could make a really good game here, and with the right funding and proper equipment, Call of Duty Vietnam could be amazing. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, remember to leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get 600 subscribers by the end of the month, so it would be greatly appreciated to really push that number up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.